Hi, beautiful ones. My intention with the Shamangelic Healing Podcast is to be a platform that explores real-life issues and provides you with valuable insights and practical tools to support you on your journey of healing core wounds and reclaiming your power and manifesting a thriving, impactful life that you absolutely love. You see, it's my dream to inspire millions to shine. So if you find these topics valuable, please take a moment and share the podcast and leave us a rave review. This helps the podcast grow and reach the people that would greatly benefit from these insights. Thank you so much for tuning in and investing in your personal development. I'm right here walking this journey with you. So let's dive into this episode. Welcome, welcome. Buckle in. This is going to be an amazing ride. We are going to dive into raising your vibration to transform your life. So be sure to check the free gift that we have that is a quantum manifestation visualization. So check the free gift link for that. And excited to dive in with this beautiful sister, Taylor Simpson, who came to visit here in Sedona with a lot of her amazing sisters and beautiful women. And we did an incredible breath work and sacred feminine activation here in Sedona. It was off the charts, absolutely raising all of our vibrations, transforming all of our lives. And I dig this sister. Taylor is really a light worker. She is focused on activating women's highest potential, dissolving limiting mindset to really manifest in your life everything that you really want and more, really tapping your highest potential. So everything that we're going to be sharing today is for men and women. And this sister, Taylor, I adore you. There is such synergy, a common language, a common frequency. And I think that's why we vibe so high, so well. So thank you so much. And I'm grateful to have you.
So excited to be here, Anahata, and just so grateful for you and this conversation that is to unfold. So it's going to be juicy.
It's going to be juicy. Buckle in. And so one of the things that I think, especially right now, because about what is happening with all of the vibrational density, as we transform and are activated to awaken, it's not uncommon to feel heavy, overwhelmed, or just all the external toxicity, fear, drama, chaos, uncertainty, kind of, just depressing our high vibes. So what do you do in times like this to keep your vibration high? First of all, in these times.
Yeah, it is. I always joke, it's like a time to be alive right now, for sure. And I remember that I chose to be here. Like, I have to always remember, okay, when life gets crazy, or if I get down the hole where I'm like, what is going on? What's collapsing? Why is this even a thing? I just go back and remember, wait a minute. Like, my soul chose to be here in this lifetime. It knew I could handle it. It knew I was ready for it. It knew my role in it. It knew I was going to see or unfold or be in whatever scenario. And so first I just anchor into that. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, responsibility. I chose to be here. Like, here I am. And then I think about, okay, what's the silver lining on what's going on in the world right now? While there's a lot of hot mess, people, there's tragic things happening, and what's the silver lining? Why is this happening for us, for me in this moment? And I find, okay, this is happening so that way old paradigms can break down, old systems that don't serve us can break down. We can rise into the great awakening, right? The new earth. And that's exciting. So instead of focusing on what's not working, what's falling apart, I choose to see, wow, well, in order to rise, in order to become the version of me that I want to become, i.e. also mirrored back into the world, shit has to break.
Shit has to break.
And that's exciting. Yeah. It's like when we fail, we're like, yes, I just failed. Now I get to grow some more. So that's how I really anchor it in, is remembering and finding that silver lining and letting that be my North Star versus the negative.
Yeah, it's so easy to focus on what isn't working, or the bank account doing this, or a breakup, or well, this retreat didn't work, or now I can't travel to my vacation, or my kids are at home at school,
Yeah.
instead of at school. And it's like, exactly, there's so many benefits to what is happening right now. And yeah, it is a shit show. Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The mayhem is off the charts. And that destruction is really what's required for birth. Birth is messy, and it's also beautiful.
Yes.
So, in this place, what tools do you use in addition to, okay, I came here now? Because it's absolutely true. We came here to be at this time where it's the most phenomenal,
Yeah.
exciting in human development. And there's these different ways that life can go right now.
Yeah.
And we chose to be here. And I think we're also choosing to be a part of the new paradigm and the new solution. And what I'm hearing is that it has to do somewhat with mindset around, oh, this is happening for me, and staying positive even in the negativity. So what can we do to shift our mindset in these times, or when we are on our path or trying to find our path and we're experiencing a struggle or a setback?
Yeah. Oh, love this question, because when we look at struggle and upset from a place of, okay, this is happening for me to teach me polarity of what I don't want in my life, and or what path I get to now choose. So think about all this. I've heard this from so many people when the whole thing began back in March, and people were losing their jobs, or losing different streams of income, or what, this, that, and the other. But then they were like, oh, actually, I had been wanting to leave this job. I hated this job. It was soul sucking. I've been saying for years I was getting out of it. Or they, all of a sudden, they had more time to spend with their kids. And before, they were like, I wish I had more time to spend with my kids. And so when you're in those moments, it's like, okay, what had I been asking for that I wasn't following through on due to fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of expectations, right? Fear of success. What were those things that are now happening for me that look like a shit show, that look like an upset, but they're, wait a minute, like the universe will show you polarity, especially in times of crisis, quickly, so you can get back on path with what you actually wanted. Polarity is just there to guide you. Polarity, when I mean by polarity, it's good or bad, right? It's, wow, this that's happening in my life, I don't want this. Like, this right here is what I don't want. We need to figure out what we don't want in order to figure out what we do want. Otherwise, we're just walking, like, who wants to live a life where it's just kind of like the same thing every day? We need some things to be put in there that we don't like, to be like, oh, yeah, that's what I want. Let me pivot even more to the left or more to the right, and allow yourself to get down that path. And so when you see it as, okay, this is happening for me, and it's showing me also what I don't want. Now, who do I get to be? Now, here's the next step of, now that I see what I don't want, or what's happening in my life that's not serving me, who do I get to become that is on the path of the opposite of this, right? What actions do I need to take? What kind of words would I need to use? How would I need to show up? Who do I need to become embodying to make sure that that polarity doesn't happen again? And
I love that. I really love that. I say a very similar thing to my clients, is that in the traumas from childhood, in the challenges of going through relationships, all of the things that create pain, all of the things that create suffering, it's like, great, I know what I don't want.
Yeah.
If I didn't have clear boundaries, if I didn't trust my intuition, if I didn't honor myself, if I didn't say no when I meant yes, if I didn't leave when I felt it was time, all of that is great biofeedback. It's kind of like the classroom giving us a test result from our choices.
Yeah.
And I love when you have the experience of, oh, I do not want this. It's so painful. It's so awful. It provides great clarity of what not to do. And when you dive in underneath it, then you can see, oh, That's because, like, what lesson am I learning so that I don't repeat it? If I don't want it again, then this is also raising your vibration,
Yeah.
also looks like, okay, raising my choice, raising the vibration of my choice. If I made the choice from fear, loneliness, lack, then I'm going to get a vibrational match.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about vibration, then we can say if that's the person or job that I attracted when I was 18 or 22 or 28 or whatever, and it was great for a period of time or absolutely sucked, then fantastic. What would be a different thought or belief or underlying motivation where I can attract something else? And it's, if I'm attracting from loneliness, then and hunger and starvation, then we settle for anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll give a great example of, because people, it's always beautiful, like seeing people, right? Like us teaching this and explaining this, but it's like, wait, but they don't know. They don't know. So I want to give a little example of how much I know polarity and how much I really understand what it's like to be like, this is what I don't want. So 7 years ago, it was about 7 years ago, I was in both anger management and Overeaters Anonymous on the same day. I put myself in it because I was so sick of the polarity of showing up in a version of myself that I know was not who I was. I lost touch due to being bullied and people pleasing, all of that growing up in my childhood, where I was like, the polarity was like, okay, here's the hot mess, you like real, like hot mess, like the captain of the hot mess express, like breaking things, real blown anger management, and addicted to food. And I realized these two versions of me that have become one are not who I want to be. I need to make the choice, which you alluded to, Anahata, so beautifully. I get to and need to make the choice to choose a different path, a different version of myself. Who would she look like? It's definitely not this. What actions would she take? Definitely not those. And 7 years later, here I am.
Go girl. I mean, and that, I think that we get to embrace our shit show. We get to embrace our hot mess. We get to embrace the ugliest parts of ourselves, and humbly.
Yeah.
And yet with radical honesty, not with the inner bully, but just like, is this working for me?
Yeah.
Waking up in a pool of, kind of my own vomit from over drinking, with like Doritos in my hair, not exactly sure how I got there, is probably not my most radiant self. And yet waking up that day, I'm like, I know that something's not right.
Yes.
And I want to speak to those watching or listening that know that there's a part of your life that doesn't feel right. And there's a vibration of dissonance or unhappiness or struggle or angst or pain where something's not quite right. And I love that we both hit on this choice.
Yeah.
I can unchoose that.
Yeah.
I can unchoose that. And I'm going to focus on, I love how you say, who am I becoming?
Yeah.
Because that, I think it's very powerful to envision, well, what is a better weight? What is a better health? What is a better relationship? What does it feel like to be financially abundant and free instead of entrapped with a job that I don't love, in a relationship that I'm not respected or heard, sabotaging myself left and right. And it starts, I think, also with visualizing, well, if this is a hell no, what is a yes? What is a hell yes? What is an F yes?
Yes.
Look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What would I be doing? What's around me? How does it feel?
Yeah. Yeah. And that way it allows you that can be your North Star. That can be your guiding factor of, okay, yeah, here's who I want to become. How do I get to show up, right? Using your words wisely, not how should I show up? How do I get to show up? And then allowing, right, the ego is going to come in and say, oh yeah, but how is that going to happen? When is that going to happen? You don't have the money to make that reality happen. You don't have the time to make that happen, right? That's the ego trying to protect you from getting out of your comfort zone, which allows change. And if we start to change, oh my gosh, will people still love me? oh my gosh, well, who is the new me? If I do change, if I do see, okay, here's where I'm at. I'm in victim. I'm in scarcity. I'm in lack because it's comfortable to be there, because I get attention in there. I get a little extra love. And if this triggers, anyone watching or listening, you're welcome, right? You're welcome. And so when we're in that and we say, okay, well, if this isn't where I want to be, shit, like, who am I going to be? And so so understand that the process of change is scary. That's why it's so much easier staying in your comfort zone of the negative, the low frequencies, because it's what we're indoctrined into. We're programmed to stay in this needing state. So we're dependent on society, the government, other people, right? It keeps us from being just dependent on ourselves. Heaven forbid we take responsibility over ourselves. And so that story, those fears are going to come up. And so as they do, just honor them and thank you. I understand the little T. You might be a little scared right now because you were bullied when you were younger, right? For whatever, this, that, and the other. It's not going to happen this time because you're going to be sovereign and aligned. And it's going to be scary. And people might not like you, and they might leave you, and they might say, wow, you've changed. And you get to say, thank you. I have.
And it's so common. I love that you bring up when you start changing, people around you might be threatened by that.
Yes.
And the fear of losing those relationships, or the fear of being judged by that. Yeah. Yes, to evolve, to grow, you will need to face that. And that might be where there's an up leveling in the vibration of the circle of influence, or the people that you call your tribe, or your safe circle may need to also, as you raise your vibration of saying, wow, it's possible for me to lose weight. It's possible for me to have a healthier relationship. Recognize and be ready for the criticism of that status quo being threatened by still those that are still attached to it. Yeah. And as you unmesh from that, as you unravel from that, this is where the passionate yes of this is who I'm becoming, and that unstoppable commitment and drive to nothing will stop me, even somebody else's judgment. Nothing will stop me, even if it's somebody else's insecurity or criticism, because the vibration, the passion, the desire, I think emotion is so important in raising your vibration, is so great, which might have been from a very low vibration of pain and anger and self-loathing of what I don't want, that catalyzes I've got to move forward. This is where I'm going. I'm going to, I may not know the how. In fact, most of the times we don't know the how, but our commitment to the I will starts in that higher vibration of knowing and commitment. We start to attract. And if we're listening to the synchronicities, you're like, wow, here comes a personal trainer that just said, hey, I'd like to trade you for this thing. Yeah. Here comes this book, or this opportunity to be around people that learn things, the tools that I actually need for who I'm becoming.
Yes. And I like to use the analogy of when you're doing that, when you're growing and quite literally raising your frequencies, which are measurable, right? That if they're in the quantum field, they're around us. Your heart is 60 times more powerful than your brain on electromagnetic fields. Like, it's going out so much more powerfully. So if you can imagine, well, if you're raising from victim into love, if my heart's 60 times more powerful than just my brain alone, which is already really freaking powerful. So like, just to give an analogy of that, if I'm doing this, right, the people around me whose maybe their field is like this, it's two batteries that are backwards, bouncing off each other, because the frequencies quite literally just don't match. And so therefore, the view, the conversations, the feeling, even when you're around them, you're like, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right for them either. But that's when you get to say, okay, then, what would those other people look like in my life that would match this frequency they're at, whose hearts are beaming 60 times more powerfully than their brains because they're heart-centered? What would that look like? And you will, and you'll slowly lose people, which is fine. Your soul contracts were complete. Maybe they'll grow with you. Maybe you'll inspire them, but you get to keep going, and you get to keep creating more relationships that actually serve you, and vice versa, because you chose to go on that path.
which actually supports your vibration raising.
Yes.
It,
Over and over.
it's this loop that says, okay, when I choose, when
Yeah.
I first make the choice to raise my vibration, and when I feed it with that, I love that 60 times more, when I feed it with the energy of my heart,
Yeah.
loving who I'm becoming, feeling emotionally charged about how good it feels in that new frequency. And the guided visualization that we have as a free gift will help, because every morning you can insert your vision, whatever that is, whether it's your health, relationships, something you're manifesting in your business, and any part of your life, and just insert that dream, that new you, that hell yes, into that visualization to reinforce it in the brain. Because as we're coming with science showing us that the brain is such, when we're in positive thoughts that align with our heart, manifestation happens so much faster.
It's the brain heart connection. The Heart Math Institute is who studies this. And it's once you get that brain heart cohesion, which I was literally just having this conversation with some of my clients last night on this, of like this connecting, and then your heart being so powerful with your brain, you have no choice but to connect with your future self, with your higher self, because this is all of a sudden like a vortex for creation. And knowing that time, it's happening simultaneously. Your past, your present, and your future self are literally happening simultaneously. Multidimensional living, right? Deja vu, if you want to call it. But if your brain and heart, which I love that you bring that up, Anahata, are connected, you're always doing this. Therefore, your frequencies, your future self has her shit together and she's got this connected. So if the two of you are living simultaneously, a little bit of a gap, your frequencies will actually overlap. And then before you know it, you're living your future self's life. And I have those moments where I wake up, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm here. I'm here. I did it in like, I always joke in my community, it's like a thing. I'm like the expert 24-hour manifester. Like I've got, even no matter how big of a vision it is, I have to be so careful saying it, because that's the final thing, because I've done this work that we're sharing, and I've gotten to a place of doing this where I've got the flow, and I can do it in the moment I actually then speak it, because your words weave into now the heart brain connection, and they weave and they bring together what matches those words. Words heal. If I voice it, I better be ready, because in 24 hours, it's going to be like, here I am. And I'm like, but it happens. Anyone can do that. I'm not some, magician. I am a magician, but like, right. I'm not anyone that's any different, that you can't make this connection with that to tie it off.
It's science. I love that science and psychology and spirituality is all coming together. So we're actually understanding the science of manifestation.
Yes,
which I love it. I love it. So that means we really want to be watching our thoughts and what the spells, in essence, that we're speaking, because, there isn't enough and I can't do it, is a vibrational match. And then that becomes true.
Over and over.
Old stories repeated, that becomes a vibrational match. And saying and expressing, feeling, knowing that the new story, the new vibration, as if it is now, even though there is a gap being mitigated for now, called time, or the how, but there is this, when there is this confident knowing, it'll happen. It's inevitable. It's who I am. So there's a level of confidence, it feels, and I don't feel like it's ego. I just feel like it's truth. This is what I'm manifesting. This is what I'm called to do. This is what I am attracting. And when there is that level of certainty and high vibe about it and positivity, like, then you attract this person that can help you get there. Somebody's like, you know what? I actually can be an angel investor in that. And you're like, fantastic. It can actually happen. So we can collapse time with a dream we thought wasn't going to happen until 5 years, can collapse into 5 weeks or 5 months when there isn't limited thinking about it. You mentioned something about vibration and I want to acknowledge some of the work of power versus force.
Yeah.
And that's David Hawkins and his scale. Like he did all of this work on a vibrational scale. I have a chart with a map of
Yep.
consciousness.
Yep.
I love this because we get to see the lowest possible human emotional frequencies are guilt and shame and blame. This is what we're seeing a lot in the collective right now.
Yes.
This is sometimes what we get stuck on when we're in an inner critic dialogue with ourselves, or when we're in an unhealthy relationship, feeling oppressed or judged by somebody else. We can feel guilt or shame for not meeting their expectations, or being judged by them, or not perfect enough, or whatever it is, or it's our fault.
Yeah.
And that vibration calibrates so low compared to at the very top. We're looking at one of the top well, of course, enlightenment's up there at the top.
Yeah.
But peace actually calibrates above love.
Yeah.
We've got peace, joy, love, all calibrating at the top. So whatever will bring peace, joy, and love to your thoughts, to your life, to your relationship, do that.
Yeah.
Say yes to those things.
Yes. Well, think about, I love how you said it's like a reflection of where we're at today. Think about the mask scenario. Whether you're pro-mask, anti-mask, pro-vaccine, anti-vaccine, doesn't matter. Another conversation. But think about how deeply rooted shame and guilt is right now when it comes to masks or no masks. The people that wear masks, shame and guilt to the other people who aren't wearing it. The people who aren't wearing it have shame and guilt for the people that are projecting. It's this constant feeding of, and it comes into choice. Whatever you choose, mask, no mask, vaccine, no vaccine, doesn't matter, whatever topic. But right now in real life, it is highlighting people's opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
And so if you're that person, wear a mask, no wear a mask, but you own it from a place of love, from a place of compassion for self and other people's choices, that's where you have done the work. And the people who haven't done the work, it's very obvious right now. It's like you can walk around and you're like, oh yeah, I see where you're at. And I have love and compassion for you, because you haven't done this work yet. And it's loud. It's polarity is everywhere right now.
and when I think doing the inner work is looking at your own vibration. Where am I coming from these places towards someone else or towards myself? So
period.
Where we can, and this is doing the work. Like you said, doing the work is self-awareness.
Yeah.
And self-reflection and self-inquiry. Where is my vibration around this topic? Yes. Where is my vibration in this conversation with somebody who I don't agree with their choice? Where is this vibration when I see hatred? How do I respond?
Yeah.
Do I respond with more hatred, or do I respond with an awareness and raise my vibration? And that doesn't mean that, when we meet something that's dissonant, that there is bypassing or ignoring and, let's all, it's up here in peace and it's rainbows. It's like, I can peacefully express my opinion. I can peacefully invite us to raise the vibration. I can peacefully, energize a new paradigm and a new way. And that means, like with David Hawkins' work, power versus force, I'm not here to overpower somebody in a different vibration, because that in itself is a low vibration response. Yeah. So I feel that there's so many layers to this as we do our own work and we look at, where is my vibration around this experience? And when I witness it in others, what is my vibration? I think that's the secondary layering of work, is to what is my response vibration? Because I think that's where the training lies a lot, and the classroom lies a lot, and the teachers lie in the lowest frequencies, so that you can see where an old frequency you haven't yet fully transmuted gets triggered, and you match a low vibe. Where someone picks a fight, you get triggered, and then instead of staying in your vibration around it, you participate in a downward spiral. And the ugliest parts of you show up and you say, oh, it's their fault, back to blame. It's their fault. They triggered me, or they're so unconscious. And you can just hear the judgment and the non-accountability in that if you really just kind of listen. It doesn't mean that what they do or what they're doing you agree with.
Yeah.
But what is your where in the scale
is neutrality too.
Yeah.
Yes, neutrality. That's shifting from the 3D frequency of living, which we've been operating in, and is not serving us. That's the patriarchy. That's the toxic masculinity. That's the systems that just are crashing down in front of us. When we shift from 3D into 4D dimension, these are not places. So if anyone's like, we're going to a place, we're not going to a place. It's just a frequency. Like I always like to remind people, it's just a frequency. We're shooting through the galaxies, raising our frequency. And so as we go into fourth and fifth, that's where fifth is just love. These are that high frequency. It's, you're in the 5D frequency when you're truly so like blissfully in love. I always give the analogy that the universe is having sex with you. When you're just like, life is so good. It feels so good right now. I am open to receiving. I am fully open to embrace whatever comes for me. All of that. That's 5D. That's the neutrality where you get to look at the conversations you're having from a place of, oh, well, this is the conversation that's coming up for me. From a place of non-judgmental, because there's no black or white, there's no yes or no, there's no right or wrong in 5D. There's just love, neutrality. And so when you see yourself judging in a conversation, self or other, that's an opportunity to say, okay, right now I always joke, I'm so 3D right now. I'm being so, I'm trying to like make that a thing. I'm so 3D. And you can catch yourself and say, wait a minute, 3D is low frequency. It's shame. It's guilt. I want to make sure to raise the consciousness of myself and the planet, because collective consciousness, that I come up in a place of love, which is 5D, which is then the irony, the win-win for everyone is that when you can look at these conversations from a place of love, understanding and compassion, both for self and others, is that you then get to hold that frequency. They feel it, because when I heal, you heal. When you heal, they heal. It's just how it works. You then bring them up just a little bit. This person that's bitching and complaining and victim, and you're like, girl, I'm just trying to hold my 5D frequency, and you're like trying to drag me down. You hold it, you set the example. She will have no other choice but try to meet you or choose to stay in 3D, which eventually she'll have to get out of it. The way we're going and shifting to the new earth, people who stay in 3D they're screwed. They're screwed. They're not going to thrive.
Back to choice. It's back to choice. Raising your vibration is a choice. It's totally optional. We all have will.
Yes.
And sometimes there's a catalyst, there's an invitation, or we call it a wake-up call or a rock bottom. It says, will I change it now? How about now? What about if this is at stake? And it's okay not to choose it. It's totally optional. We have will as a soul to say, okay, I've reached my capacity. I'm not ready to let go of alcohol. It's my security blanket. I'm not ready to let go of judgment or anger or resentment. Okay, totally optional. Then you will attract more of the same, and it begins this self-combustion, where it's not a longevity choice. Yeah. So that tends to shorten life, or more chaos happens, more drinking happens, cancer happens. And so, and it's okay. It's okay. Even if we're staying in the love frequency, then we even get to see the beauty in suffering, our own or someone else's. We get to see the beauty and the necessity of something dying so something can birth. Yeah. And that really will most likely trigger or stretch somebody listening if there isn't a willingness to be in the allowing. Like the Hopi tribe, the Hopi elders, their prophecy talks about this time right now being a time where the river is moving so fast, and there will be those that are holding on to the shore. Maybe that's ego, maybe that's money, maybe that is an addiction, or a pattern or a lifestyle habit or a relationship that is not part of their evolution. And in doing so, in that holding so, gripping so tight, the choice to stay in that vibration which we all have, will, and there's all parts of us that are still holding on. This isn't like an us versus them. You, I, everybody listening and watching, there's part of us that are woke AF, and there's parts of us that are, I'm not letting go of that. You give me that. I'm keeping that. And in that, we're going to be experiencing the reflections of that choice. And it's going to be more and more painful and uncomfortable to hold on to that. And we're all getting those reflections, and even just to give each other compassion in these times when our security blankets, whatever those look like, are being ripped away, and it's scary and it's uncomfortable, and maybe our less than ideal behavior will come out as a response from that, is to be able to recognize and acknowledge with kindness. Yes, that, when we're in that fear space, in that low vibration of fear, that is acknowledging something is evolving, that is when love comes in and says, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I love you anyway. And we can evolve together. We can do this together without hatred. And I love the new paradigm that we're creating right now. I have hope that and true in holding not only individually, but collectively, what the new paradigm looks like, what healthy relationships looks like, our relationship to the earth, our relationship to economy, our relationship to business, to family, to love, to procreation. It's rising, it's improving. With every chaotic thing, we know what not to do.
And we're going back to like how it used to be, right? Lemuria, and Atlantis kind of was a little bit of a hot mess because they were just so advanced, but like the Lemuria times, Atlantis times, where community was key, where before the Catholic Church took away the power of women and made Mary Magdalene a whore when she wasn't a whore. Like, we're going back to the actual truth. This isn't like anything new. We just forgot. Like this earth, existed before. We just screwed it up.
But we kind of went down the path of what not to do.
We found the polarity, right? The day is the polarity, and now we're going back to that. And it's there's gonna be a ton of ego deaths when we transition, when we let go of the branch going down the river, going really fast. You're going to be like, this is terrifying. That's your ego dying. There's a lot of ego deaths going on right now. And it feels like out of control weirdness. Just lean into it and understand that it's happening for you. When you have an ego death and you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing in my life anymore. Who am I? I just want to get rid of everything about me. Cool. Get rid of it. And let it be that easy. And it's one of the things that I'm intentionally shifting out of, and what I'm constantly sharing with my community, reminding them, is that it doesn't have to be as hard as everyone has made it seem. We've always been taught, programmed since the moment we came out of the womb, right? That we have to work to make things happen. Things have to be hard. We have to hustle. We have to really, really grind. And then we take that belief that we were given to have the white picket fence, to go to college, to get married, to get the degree, right? To do the things, to buy the car. We've mirrored that with self-development. And we think that changing, that having the ego death, that looking at the wounds, that doing the healing has to be a hustle, that it has to be hard. Like, it's an illusion. Everything's an illusion anyways, but it's an illusion when you think, well, I have this deep wound, it's from childhood. Great. We all do. Let's have compassion and then say, okay, do I want to get rid of this? Am I terrified to get rid of this? What would it look like to get rid of this? Now, let it go. Let it go. It doesn't need to be as hard as we think. There's so many memes out there that's like a side by side. It's like what a spiritual awakening looks like. And she's like in the flowers, and then what it really looks like. And she's crying and she's a hot mess. But I actually I get the point of that meme, but it actually makes it look like it has to be hard.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. If you're coming from love, high frequencies, self-compassion, right? Patience, you get to nurture that little T, that little you that's a hot mess, and you get to love her, and you get to move forward easily, and it doesn't need to be this painful thing.
No, this is what the Hopi talk about. It's like, let go of the shore, kick off into the river and see who else is there and celebrate. And so even when we're going through those transformations of vibrational shifts around healing a core wound or letting go of codependency or letting go of an addiction, and we're reaching, the hands open up then to reach for something, but it's what we want.
Yeah.
Is that, reaching and allowing, even as we're going through that transition, it can be happening peacefully. So I have a question for you. In the moment, what do you do if you got, there's been a breakup or there's been a text or there's been like some news and it just spun you out? Like, and it just like shocked you, or it keeps hooking you. What do you do in the moment when you need to raise your vibration for, in the moment? What are things that you do like in a moment when you need to shift?
Yes, I always a good joke. Like when the Matrix tries to tell you that something's breaking, how do you respond? Because I call it, anything outside of us is just an illusion. It's fake. And that's actually happening like in real time. This week we've been having, like, this is real time. I'm practicing this. So I love this question. Like, this is like, I am sitting in it. And we've been having some issues with, anytime I record videos, we end up having issues because it just, the frequency I put in videos ends up literally crashing my team's computers. And they're like, I can't handle these videos. So we've been taking weeks to get one video up. Okay. And the whole time I'm just like, when they said we can't get it up, I'm like, okay, I want to freak out. I want to panic, right? Because this is broken. We've got to figure out the resolution, which is going to be a headache, and we're losing time and all these illusions that are coming up. And so I'd catch myself, instead of panicking and being like, well, I don't know what to do at this point. I paused. It was like, okay, this is what is happening. Noted. One, just acknowledging it. Sometimes we try to spiritual bypass and be like, how can we resolve this? Just acknowledge. You chose for this moment to happen. Before you came into your meat suit, you're like, on this day, at this time, this shit show is going to happen, and you're going to learn from it. So acknowledge. And then two, ask yourself, okay, if I chose this piece to happen during the game of life, why would I choose for this to happen right now? What, like, I chose this. This is a direct mirror of me. I choose my reality. Everything is a mirror. So then you say, okay, this is teaching me patience. This is teaching me, what that the other, but find the silver lining in why it's happening and think, okay, well, if this is out of my control, or this is happening, or this broke, how can I feel as I move through this? What energy, because energy is real, where your attention goes, energy flows. So if I want the end result for this video to go where it's supposed to go and have it be easy, no matter how long it takes, who would I need to be during that time to infuse my powerful energy, brain, going back to the brain, the heart, into this situation? That way, the actual energy heals the situation, aids the situation, and I get my desired outcome. And so as I'm going through that, this is the real life process I take myself through. So if you've gotten bad news, you've gotten a phone call, or you lost your job, or someone even tragically passed away, right? Asking yourself, okay, like, what is this teaching me right now? Maybe that I took advantage of not spending enough time with this person. Noted. Thank you for this lesson, right? Who do I get to be moving forward to make sure that I never get this lesson again? Because if you get it again, you didn't learn it the first time. So it's it's gamifying the game of life and playing the chess of life by always saying, okay, I put this pog here. Why did I put it here? The universe put this one here. Why did it put it here? I see you challenging me. I see you gifting me right now. Find it, infuse everyone's a magical unicorn. And once you understand that, you're like, but this solution can't be fixed, or this problem can't be fixed. Oh, yes, it can. Multidimensional living, parallel universes. Everything is possible when you actually surrender to that and realize it. The most impossible scenarios are possible in some dimension. You just get to choose which door to which dimension you want to go in, but it starts with how you are going to feel and think and embody. Like,
Right.
no.
In the moment, just
In
like,
the moment.
it's okay, I'm okay, it's okay, I'm okay. Querying, what am I attached to? And in that, I've noticed that my vibration of angst that is triggered can make it worse unless I stop.
Yes, the
For
pause.
me, in the moment,
Yeah.
I have to disconnect
Yeah.
from the experience and the vibration of the panic, the overwhelm, the fear. I have to just step back. For me, it really helps to just close my eyes,
Yeah.
because when my eyes are open, the files of my human brain that are limited, corrupt, not mine, and outdated, are trying to fix the problem, trying to blame somebody, trying to protect myself, and those making choices from that, where the primal brain is triggered, narrows my field of focus of whatever I can do to survive. Well, that's attack. Yeah. So I've attacked plenty in those chaotic situations, and it's like, pause. I'm not being attacked. I don't need to armor up right now.
Yeah.
I have to step back.
Yeah.
And close my eyes for sure, so that the third eye that can see bigger possibilities, and this is happening for me, and it's all going to be okay. It's creating a better timeline. Something is being improved or reworked. I may not see it. I don't have to see it, but I can move into that higher vibration of trusting the universe that it's realigning the timeline or some aspect of the experience for me. And I can trust in that, because it's always happened that way. It's always happened that way, only every time. So now I'm getting to that, to trust it early on, even if I don't see that, oh, that's why, like, didn't see it from that place or that timeline or that version or that perspective. Yeah. So I close my eyes, I breathe. And a few other things that help in the actual moment is to see it resolved, like you were saying, definitely. See, well, what does this look like resolved? What does it look like better? And then non-attach. I'm not trying to force it to resolve in the next 3 minutes, because then I'm using force again rather than allowing and trusting. Universe knows when to resolve it. I also use essential oils. Like when I need to calm down, I'm going to use peace and calming. Like that is in my healing room. It's in the bathtub. It's in the office, peace and calming. When I want more joy frequencies, I'm like gonna rock the joy. I like throw it all over my body. White angelica when I'm meditating, to raise my vibration when I'm meditating in the morning or at night, or I might need an emergency meditation. So essential oils, thoughts, like it's okay, and shifting, breathing. And then also, since our minds can feed a story of chaos, they can also feed a story of peace and bliss. So I'm going to take myself into a place that is, again, if peace is the highest frequency and enlightenment is the highest frequency, what visualization, or I would even say happy place, whether that is the ocean or a memory or a love, like, we can go anywhere in the mind in 30 seconds or less. Yeah. It can be anywhere. And so I think using the mind to bring myself into my happy place helps me just decompress. And as I decompress and downscale the low vibe, I make space for the high vibe. And so I use all of those tools, or just step back and go in nature. Do I need water? Do I need to just breathe outside? Do I need to take a walk? So those are all of the things. And we'll put the link to essential oils, because those are like all over the place. In fact, I have what I used this morning, and I have it in my shower, is eucalyptus, when I'm wanting to raise my vibration and just like wake up and uplift. Instead of coffee, I'm like, that's in my shower every morning, uplifting, in lavender and peace and calming when I want when I want to lower the intensity of my vibration, but higher the frequency of it, where I just want to calm everything down.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you do in the moment, but in addition to what you said, to kind of help calm the nervous system or calm the trigger,
Yeah.
so that you make space for the higher vibration?
Yeah, that process and that pause, really, I stepped back and I just had that moment to myself. And when the whole video thing happened, the other day, I paused. I was like, I'm gonna just put my computer away. I'm gonna have a whole cacao ceremony, and I'm going to I needed some heart openers. I was like, I'm gonna lose my shit, and I don't need that. That's not helpful for anyone if I lose my shit. So I was like, pause, had my little cacao ceremony, really got back in for like an hour. I just shut down, allowed myself that gift. My morning ritual is really important too, because it actually bleeds over into the rest of my day. I've got a 3-hour morning ritual that is like, it's aggressive, I like to say, because it's so long, but it's what I need in order to fill my cup up, so that when I do come to those scenarios, that what anchored in during my morning ritual of meditation, right? Of 45 to 50-minute meditation, conscious journaling, having conversations with my spirit guides, having conversations with my ascended masters, doing the angel pulls, all of that. Then when I'm in those scenarios where life wants to give me polarity, it wants to help me grow, that groundedness, that energy, that truth, those tools just come up in it. That's why people are like, well, nothing happens while I'm meditating. What's the point? I'm like, oh, but it has nothing to do with why you're meditating. Like, yeah, you might get some visions and hear some things and have some breakthroughs, but really the juice of meditation comes from when the world wants to be a shit show and everything hits the fan. You're like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. And so really it's my modalities that I do in the morning and kind of throughout the day. I've got sound bowls. I've got, a panadrum. I've got rattles. I've got incense. I've got essential oils, those things that are just laying out around our apartment. Like I've got Native American drums just sitting out on my couch, so that if I need to have a moment, I'm just like, like let the vibrations heal my body, or I flip it over and sing into it. So my whole apartment is surrounded with modalities out in the open that I can just sit down, do a crystal ball, let the frequencies heal whichever part of me that needs to be healed. And then I get up, like just 30 seconds. I'm like, I'm not gonna lose my shit anymore. We're good.
And I so appreciate that you're talking about how important the morning routine is. And, for those that are homeschooling kids and have to be up, it may not be 3 hours when you have those time blocks, and you can block a day for yourself, a morning for yourself. Take it. And maybe it's 45 minutes, maybe at 30 minutes, you said, hey, 30 seconds of a sound bowl can shift you. And I think music is definitely, and the vibration of music, of sometimes just, I'll turn on this one soundtrack and I'm like, oh, okay. Right. And I think for everything that's going on right now, when we have one of those big wake up calls, like when this all started, it's like, take a step. And I remember the business was just in huge flux in that first week of lockdown, and everybody was calling on refunds, and there was a lot of chaos. And I'm just like, I will not make any decisions in the next 48 hours. Zero decisions, because if I make any decisions from the low vibration of fear or panic, I will make it worse. I will say things that will come back to haunt me. I will cause harm. My vibrations will absolutely bring back, an amplification of intensity of what I'm currently feeling. So I'm just like, definitely pause. And when you have that, if you're watching or listening, when you have those moments where you feel boiling, like, take the step back. And I love the morning routine, so that you're not at 1 PM when things are intense and like there's a lot of frenetic energy happening, that you're not already at the boiling point because of your morning routines and because of things that you have around you to just like step back, essential oil, play a soundtrack, take 30 seconds of sound, and then re-infuse in your day so that you're filling your emotional vibrational bank account in advance. So you said crystal bowl, and I still have the crystal bowl in here from when I was supporting your mastermind.
Good.
So let's do that right now.
I'll grab my crystal. I got crystal right now.
Good. So if you're watching, close your eyes. If you're listening and not driving, close your eyes. And, spontaneously, we're going to guide a higher vibrational meditation for you right now. So I'm going to start this sound vibration. Taylor's going to say a few things. I'm going to say a few things, and we're just going to go back and forth. Real time, lowering the intensity vibration of anxiety or stress or overwhelm or fear. We're going to decompress that. And then we're also going to make space for the love vibration, for peace vibration, for joy to rise. So we'll start with that. So if you're in a space where you can close your eyes or pause this here and come back to it, it'll always be here for you. First of all, just exhale.
Just take this moment, this gift of healing sound, because vibrations truly do heal your body. Allow the sound, my words, to activate what you already know to be true. Allow yourself to shine the light on the fears, the insecurity, the pain, overwhelm. Just look at them. They're parts of you that get to be healed, that get to be expressed. And the only way you get to raise your frequency is when you love parts of yourself with compassion, without neglect, just pure, I see you, but I still love you for it.
Beautiful. Just exhaling, making space, dissolving, releasing, surrendering, softening. Wherever there is a grip, just soften any tension. And allow in this beautiful pink, golden, white light to just bathe you in grace. Bringing you back to peace, your natural frequency that you were born here with. The natural frequency we all came from and are always connected to. That vibration of love that is in you and is around you, accessible to you in unlimited quantities, always and forever. Breathe it in and let it land. Making space for who you are becoming. Allowing space for that version of you to have attention and nourishment by your thoughts, by your beliefs, by your heart-centered vibration. You came here to shine. You came here to be love, share love, experience love, and give love. Everything is happening for you so that you can rise into this knowing, so that you can be a part of humanity evolving, your soul growing. Together we rise. Yes, 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 yes. Less.
Okay.
Yay. When you said that, I said, hey, well, let's do it right
Why
now.
not?
Why
Mm.
not? I just want to acknowledge for everybody that we have a little assignment for you, and that is just to take some time after this podcast and just write down your yes. Without, oh, I can't do that, or that's too big. Don't filter it. Just a free flow, brain dump, heart dump, words, visions, locations, thoughts, anything that feels like a yes, yes, yes. Write it down. Give yourself permission to swim in the possibilities. Do that guided visualization and just begin to daily repeat that mantra, see that vision, meditate with that, let your heart vibe it, talk about it, and feed it. Spend time feeding the future version of you, and that seed needs nourishment, it needs attention, it needs protection, and that's how it grows. What would you add to that for this assignment for them, Taylor?
Say yes to what feels good, even when it feels scary.
Yeah.
Like just like the conversation, right? The pivot, the relationship, the not the relationship, any of that, the love you have for yourself. Just say yes, even if it feels scary. Because if the vision is in you, the direction you want to go, it is already for you.
Yeah. It's planted there for a reason. The universe doesn't make mistakes. It'll plant seeds and dreams within you because you're the dream keeper and creator of that.
And so it is. And anytime you declare something or have a vision, follow it up with "and so it is."
So it is.
So it is.
Yes.
Mm.
So thank you so much. We could be going for days, and I'm sure that we'll be doing more here in Sedona when you come back to visit. We'll do some live recordings on the land, and just there's more coming. And make sure to check out Taylor's podcast because I am on her show. And so tell everybody where they can find you, your podcast, and your socials and everything.
Yes, podcast is a tailored adventure to happiness. And we don't always talk about happiness. We talk about some deep shit over there. So it's one of those podcasts, if you're like, I'm ready for some real talk about real topics, come and listen to that podcast. And my Instagram is at I am Taylor Simpson. All the things I share, all the things over there. And I've got amazing communities. You can check out what those are on taylorsimpson.com. And then I have an epic quiz that I highly recommend everyone to take. It's juicy. It was a birthing needed to happen. It's what is your money frequency quiz. It's a free quiz. Go take it. And it ends up telling you what your frequency is at when it pertains to either blocking or allowing money to come in. And I tell you which one of your chakras are underactive or overactive as it pertains to that frequency. So it's juicy and I'm obsessed with it. Totally not biased, but you can get that at taylorsimpson.com/quiz. And
we will put that in the show notes because that is a wonderful gift.
Yeah.
Hey, go check out your money frequency and see what's blocking that. And I think I love the podcast. That is a yes. That is also the assignments. See, in this podcast, we give hey, here's the follow-up integration of how you can take what you experienced today and start implementing it. So there's that. And so we'll make sure that that's in the show notes as well. And absolutely go get that. And especially with your podcast, and same with this, when you're talking about, hey, here's the pathway to happiness, of course you're going to be addressing what blocks happiness. Absolutely. That's just as important to the manifestation of identifying what's in the way. You are such a beautiful star. You are walking it. You are doing your work. You are showing up. You're helping others. You're a way shower and a light keeper. And I am a light worker, and I'm just so grateful that our paths have crossed, divinely arranged, of course, and that it's the beginning of magical manifestations ahead. May every step of your journey be blessed and filled with blissgasms of love and abundance in all ways, that you dream things into reality. Love you and so grateful. So if you're still listening, thank you for tuning in. Go follow Taylor and go get those free gifts and start raising your vibration and transforming your life today. Thanks for tuning in. If you loved this conversation, if it was valuable, please share it and let other people know, because they may want to raise their vibration as well. Please go take a moment and give us a rave review on the show so that it can reach more people. That is my mission, to inspire millions to shine. And so if there was something here that you enjoyed and valuable, then please take a moment and give a rave review on the podcast so that more people can tune in. So thank you so much, everybody. Love you, bliss you, and go raise your vibration.
Thank you.
Love you, everybody. Thanks, Taylor.